The warning we ignore. Every human being carries signs within them. Signs of strength, signs of weakness, signs of hope, and signs of despair. These signs are not written on their faces, but they are etched in their choices, their habits, and their outlook on life. When we meet someone, we may admire their intelligence, their wealth, their charm, or their influence, or we may notice their struggles, their mistakes, or their fears. But beyond all of this, there is one sign far more dangerous than anything else. A sign so subtle that it often goes unnoticed until it's too late. This sign is not anger, for anger can sometimes fuel change. It is not fear, for fear can be transformed into courage. It is not even failure, because failure, if embraced, can become the greatest teacher. The most dangerous sign in a person is when they lose the will to grow. When they stop moving forward, stop learning, stop questioning, stop challenging themselves. This is the true danger. Because the moment growth ends, life begins to wither. Imagine a tree that refuses to grow. At first, it may look healthy, but slowly its leaves turn dull, its branches weaken, and its roots dry up. It cannot resist the storm. It cannot bear fruit, and eventually, it crumbles. The same is true for us. When a person decides, consciously or unconsciously, that they have enough growth, that they are finished learning, they start dying inside while still appearing alive on the outside. This warning is often ignored because stagnation does not announce itself loudly. It whispers in small ways. It shows up when you say, "I don't need to improve. I already know enough." It creeps in when you avoid challenges because comfort feels easier. It grows when you compare yourself only to those behind you instead of those ahead. Slowly, without realizing it, you stop reaching for the next level and life becomes repetitive, dull, and uninspired. The tragedy is that many people mistake this stagnation for peace. They think, at least I'm comfortable, at least I'm safe, at least nothing is changing. But comfort without growth is not peace. It is a cage. It keeps you from becoming who you are meant to be. It robs you of the joy that comes from progress, from breaking limits, from stepping into your higher self. The warning we ignore is this: the absence of growth is the beginning of decline. Life is never still. You are either moving forward or falling backward. There is no in-between. The most dangerous sign in a person is not visible in one day, but over time it reveals itself in wasted potential, unfulfilled dreams, and silent regrets. So the first step to awakening is awareness. Ask yourself honestly, am I growing or am I stuck? Because the greatest danger is not the obstacles ahead, it is the decision to stop moving altogether, the death of desire. At the heart of every human being is a fire, the fire of desire. This fire pushes a child to crawl, then walk, then run. It pushes a student to learn, an artist to create, a leader to build, and a seeker to search for truth. Desire is the spark of life itself. It is what makes us grow, evolve, and rise above yesterday's limitations. Without desire, nothing new is born. Without desire, no dream is pursued. Without desire, the spirit slowly begins to fade. The most dangerous sign in a person is not just the loss of growth. It is the death of desire itself. When someone loses the hunger to become more, to know more, to live more deeply, they become a shell of who they were meant to be. The body may still move, but the spirit no longer burns. Life becomes a routine, not an adventure. Days pass, but no real progress is made. Think about it. Every great achievement in history was fueled by desire. Desire built the pyramids, painted the masterpieces, wrote the books, healed the sick, and took humanity to the stars. Desire is the invisible force that has shaped civilizations and transformed lives. When desire dies, not only does the individual lose their power, but the world also loses the contribution they could have made. But how does desire die? It rarely vanishes all at once. Instead, it withers slowly. Sometimes it dies because of repeated failures. A person tries, falls, and decides, maybe I'm not meant for more. Sometimes it dies because of comfort. A person gains a little success, feels safe, and decides, this is enough. Why reach higher? And sometimes it dies because of fear. The fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, the fear of leaving the familiar. Each of these fears acts like water poured onto the fire of desire until eventually only ashes remain. The tragedy is that people often mistake this death of desire for maturity. They say, I've grown older. I don't need dreams anymore. But this is not wisdom, it is surrender. True wisdom keeps desire alive but channels it toward meaningful growth. You may not desire the same things you wanted in youth, but the desire to learn, to give, to expand should never end. A person without desire is like a bird with clipped wings. They may look alive, but they cannot soar. They may move, but they cannot rise. And this is why the death of desire is so dangerous. It kills the future before it even begins. Yet here lies hope. Even if the fire has dimmed, it can be reignited. All it takes is one spark, a new dream, a new challenge, a reminder of purpose. The soul is never too old to desire. The spirit is never too broken to awaken. So ask yourself, what do I still burn for? What do I still long to become? If the answer feels distant, dig deeper, because hidden within you is still a fire waiting to rise. Do not let it die. The death of desire is the end of growth, but the revival of desire is the beginning of transformation. The spirit of complacency. Complacency is one of the most subtle, yet most dangerous enemies of the human soul. Unlike failure, which often shakes us awake, complacency is silent. It creeps in slowly, wrapping us in comfort, whispering, "You've done enough. You don't need to try anymore. Just stay where you are." And because its voice feels soft and reassuring, most people listen. But behind that gentle whisper lies destruction, for complacency is the graveyard where dreams are buried alive. The spirit of complacency doesn't arrive when life is difficult. It comes when life feels safe. It shows up when you achieve a little success, when you reach a certain milestone, when you feel that your effort has brought you far enough. Instead of saying, "This is just the beginning," complacency convinces you, "This is the end. Stop here." And once you stop growing, you stop truly living. Think about water. When it flows, it stays fresh and alive. But when it becomes still, it stagnates and begins to rot. The same happens to a human spirit. As long as you are moving forward, learning, stretching, evolving, you remain vibrant. But the moment you allow complacency to take over, you begin to decay from the inside, even if the outside looks fine. The danger of complacency is that it blinds you. It convinces you that you are safe while slowly stealing your potential. A complacent person may still appear successful, respected, or comfortable, but deep inside, they are stuck. They no longer reach higher. They no longer risk. They no longer hunger for truth or growth. And life, which was meant to be a journey of continuous expansion, becomes a slow repetition of the same shallow patterns. Complacency also destroys humility. The one who believes, "I already know enough," closes the door to wisdom. The one who says, "I've already achieved enough," closes the door to destiny. This is why complacency is often the brother of arrogance. They walk hand in hand. Together, they trap a person in a false sense of greatness while their inner fire quietly fades away. But here's the truth. No matter how much you have accomplished, there is always more to learn, more to give, more to become. Life itself is infinite in its lessons. The wise know that reaching one mountain peak is not the end. It is the beginning of the next climb. The complacent, however, set up camp at the peak and slowly watch their strength wither away. The spirit of complacency can only be defeated by awareness and humility. You must recognize when you are becoming too comfortable and remind yourself that growth is the true purpose of life. Ask yourself, am I repeating the same year over and over, or am I becoming more each year? The answer will reveal whether complacency has taken root in your soul. Remember this, comfort zones may feel safe, but nothing grows there. Growth requires movement, discomfort, and challenge. The spirit of complacency is dangerous because it feels pleasant. But pleasantness without progress leads to wasted life, and life is too sacred to be wasted. The mask of arrogance. Arrogance is one of the most dangerous disguises a person can wear. Unlike complacency, which quietly numbs the spirit, arrogance shouts its presence, yet deceives both the arrogant and those around them. The most dangerous sign often hides behind confidence, knowledge, or success, presenting itself as strength while it slowly destroys growth, relationships, and inner peace. A person wearing the mask of arrogance believes they have reached the pinnacle. They think they know it all. They think they have nothing left to learn, and they think no one can teach them anything new. The problem with arrogance is that it blinds the soul. When a person believes they are above others, above correction, or above learning, they cut themselves off from the very experiences that could elevate them further. Life begins to stagnate because the arrogance prevents reflection, humility, and self-improvement. No one can grow while thinking they are already perfect. The moment you stop learning is the moment your progress halts, no matter how much you have achieved in the past. Arrogance also isolates. When someone wears this mask, they push away truth, advice, and wisdom. Friends and mentors may offer guidance, but arrogance interprets it as criticism. Opportunities for growth are ignored because the arrogant person feels they already have all the answers. They may appear successful externally, but internally, they are trapped in a cage of their own ego, blind to the potential that still lies ahead. Moreover, arrogance often leads to a dangerous cycle. The more a person believes they are superior, the less they listen. The less they listen, the more mistakes they repeat. The more mistakes they repeat, the more their relationships, reputation, and inner peace suffer. This cycle can continue unnoticed for years, until the arrogant person is faced with consequences that SHI would have been avoided if humility had replaced pride. The mask of arrogance is particularly dangerous because it feels like power. Confidence feels empowering. Knowledge feels empowering. But arrogance is false power. It is strength built on illusion, not truth. The wise understand that true power lies in humility, curiosity, and the constant pursuit of growth. The arrogant, by contrast, mistake rigidity for strength and refuse to adapt or learn. Yet there is hope. The mask can be removed, but it requires courage. It requires the willingness to admit, I do not know everything. I can still improve. I can still learn. It requires self-reflection, the humility to listen, and the openness to let others help guide your growth. True awakening begins the moment arrogance is replaced by a desire to evolve, to become wiser, and to connect deeply with life. Remember, the most dangerous sign in a person is not just arrogance, it is the refusal to see it in oneself. Self-awareness is the key. If you can recognize arrogance within your own heart, you can shed it and open yourself to endless growth, learning, and transformation. The mask may feel safe, but behind it lies the stagnation of the soul. Lift it and let your spirit breathe, expand, and rise, awakening the fire within. Every human being carries within them a spark, a flame of potential, purpose, and power. This fire is the essence of life itself. It is the energy that pushes you to dream, to act, to rise above obstacles, and to create a future that exceeds your present. But too often, this fire is allowed to dim. It becomes covered by fear, doubt, disappointment, or the distractions of everyday life. And when the fire dims, the spirit weakens, the heart loses courage, and potential remains unfulfilled. The most dangerous sign in a person, the loss of growth, desire, or humility, can be reversed. It begins with awakening that inner fire. You must remind yourself that no matter how stagnant your life may feel, no matter how many failures or setbacks you've endured, the spark within you has never truly gone out. It may flicker, it may hide, but it is always there, waiting for you to ignite it once more. Awakening this fire begins with awareness. You must recognize where your spirit has been dulled. Where have you settled? Where have you stopped growing? Where has fear, Complacency or arrogance kept you from reaching your potential. Honest self-reflection is the first step. The moment you admit, I have allowed my fire to dim, you open the door to transformation. Next comes purpose. The fire within cannot burn without direction. It needs fuel, and that fuel is a clear, meaningful purpose. Ask yourself, what is my reason to rise? What is my mission in this life? Purpose turns a flicker into a flame. It gives your actions weight, your hours meaning, and your journey a direction. A life without purpose may move, but it will never truly ascend. Discipline and action are the next steps. Fire cannot be ignited with thoughts alone. It must be fed with consistent effort. Small daily actions chosen with intention gradually build momentum. Wake early to focus on your growth. Learn something new. Push your limits. Serve others. Every deliberate action is a spark that keeps the fire alive, transforming potential into results. Rest and reflection are also essential. A flame cannot burn endlessly without care. It needs pause to rejuvenate. Meditation, reflection, gratitude, and moments of stillness feed the inner fire. They allow you to reconnect with your deeper self, understand your path, and maintain clarity in your direction. And finally, courage is the wind that allows the fire to spread. You must step beyond fear, challenge limitations, and refuse to accept mediocrity. The fire within awakens fully when you dare to rise despite doubt, despite judgment, despite the challenges that once held you back. Remember, the spark was always inside you. Life has not stolen it. It has only tested whether you are ready to ignite it again. The moment you reclaim your fire, you reclaim your power. You awaken potential that can transform your life and touch the lives of others. The fire within is sacred. Protect it, nourish it, let it guide you. Because once it burns brightly, nothing in life can stop you from rising, growing, and becoming the person you were always meant to be. The call to rise. Life is short, fragile, and unpredictable. Each day is a gift, a blank canvas, an opportunity to shape your destiny. Yet far too many people live trapped by fear, comfort, or the illusions of their own mind. They drift through hours, months, and years without ever fully awakening to their true potential. The most dangerous sign in a person, the loss of growth, desire, and humility, does not only affect them, it affects the people around them, the choices they make, and the legacy they leave behind. But today, you have the chance to rise above it. Rising begins with awareness. You must first see yourself as you are, not as you wish to be. You must recognize where complacency has taken hold, where arrogance has blinded you, and where desire has faded. Awareness is not judgment, it is clarity. It is the mirror that shows you the truth about your life so you can choose to change it. When you face your own reality with courage, you take the first step toward transformation. Next comes choice. Awareness without action is wasted energy. Every moment you spend deciding, I will rise, you reclaim a portion of your life. Each choice to grow, to learn, to act with purpose strengthens your spirit and weakens the hold of complacency, fear, and stagnation. Life rewards the bold, the ones who refuse to settle, the ones who refuse to accept limits imposed by themselves or others. Choosing to rise is the most courageous act you can make, because it means stepping into the unknown, embracing challenge, and daring to become more than you were yesterday. Rising also requires discipline. The fire within cannot be awakened by desire alone. It must be nurtured by consistent action. Every habit you build, every effort you make, every moment you invest in growth fuels your inner fire. Rise early, learn daily, stretch beyond your comfort zone, face your fears, protect your time, align your hours with your purpose. This disciplined approach transforms ordinary days into extraordinary lives, and courage is the wind that carries your fire forward. The world will try to keep you small, to convince you that your dreams are too big, that your efforts are not enough, that your past failures define your future. Courage is what allows you to defy these lies. Courage is what pushes you to stand tall when the odds are against you, to keep walking when the path is uncertain, and to keep growing when it would be easier to give up. Finally, rising means embracing your purpose. Your life is not random. You have a calling, a mission, a potential that only you can fulfill. When you live intentionally, when every hour is guided by purpose, your life becomes unstoppable. You are no longer merely existing, you are transforming, inspiring, and leaving a legacy. The call to rise is urgent because life does not wait. The most dangerous sign in a person is the one that allows life to pass by unnoticed. But you have the power to break free. Today, choose to awaken, choose to grow, choose to act, choose to rise. Rise not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Because as long as you rise, your life has purpose. As long as you rise, your fire burns. And as long as you rise, the world can witness the greatness you were always meant to achieve. As we reach the end of this journey, let us pause and reflect on the most important truth. The most dangerous sign in a person is not failure, not weakness, not fear. It is the loss of growth, the fading of desire, the surrender to complacency, and the wearing of the mask of arrogance. This sign is silent, subtle, and often invisible to those who possess it. Yet it quietly destroys potential, erodes spirit, and steals the life that could have been extraordinary. Understanding this truth is the first step toward awakening. Life is a gift, and every day you are given 24 hours to shape your destiny. How you use these hours determines the legacy you leave. A person who loses their desire to grow may continue moving through life, but their spirit stagnates, their dreams wither, and their potential remains untapped. This is the quiet tragedy that affects so many. But the good news, the most empowering news, is that this danger is not permanent. The fire within you can always be reignited. Awakening the fire within begins with awareness. You must honestly face yourself, acknowledging where complacency, fear, or arrogance may have taken hold. Only when you see the truth of your current state can you choose to rise above it. Awareness without action is insufficient, so the next step is choice. The conscious decision to act, to grow, and to reclaim your potential. Each choice, no matter how small, becomes a spark that feeds the flame of your inner fire. Purpose is the fuel for this fire. Without purpose, action can feel meaningless, and life can become a series of empty routines. But when you align your every hour with a clear, meaningful purpose, your actions gain power, your decisions gain clarity, and your life gains direction. Living with purpose transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for growth, impact, and fulfillment. Discipline and courage are the wind and light for this flame. Discipline ensures that your efforts are consistent, focused, and aligned with your vision. Courage ensures that you rise above fear, criticism, and doubt. Together, they transform potential into results and obstacles into stepping stones. The person who chooses growth, who refuses to settle, who faces challenges with courage, is unstoppable. Remember this: the most dangerous sign in a person is reversible. The human spirit is resilient, adaptable, and capable of remarkable transformation. No matter how far you have strayed, how dim your fire may feel, or how trapped you feel by fear or arrogance, you have the power to reignite your spirit, restore your desire, and rise higher than ever before. So ask yourself right now, am I truly growing, or have I allowed stagnation to steal my life? Am I living with purpose, discipline, and courage? Am I embracing the fire within me and choosing to rise each day? The choice is yours. Life is passing with every second. Do not allow complacency, fear, or arrogance to define your journey. Embrace growth, ignite your fire, live with purpose, rise every hour, every day. And in doing so, you will not only transform your own life, you will inspire the world around you and leave a legacy that outlasts time itself.